If you enjoy listening to inspirational stories from people just like us, facing the fear and doing it anyway, then you're in the right place. My name is Claire Hill, and this is the No Rest for the Vivid podcast. Hello, it's Claire Hill again. I know I've just said that again in the intro, so I won't repeat myself. You do know this is the No Rest for the Vivid podcast. This is episode 3, and today I have the wonderful Naomi Clarke, who runs Little Peanut Online. Naomi, I've known for a good while now, and we became friends through Instagram. And I do love Instagram for the community spirit that you find when you are running a small business. Naomi helped me loads in the beginning, and she was just a little bit ahead of me and used to give me loads of tips. She was wonderful. I invited her onto the podcast because I think she's a brilliant human being who has built up a really successful business, creating amazing concrete art. So I hope you enjoy it. And if you think it's any good, leave a review for me. Thank you.
Hi, Naomi.
Hi.
I'm just giggling.
I get giddy now. Yeah.
I know. So, Naomi Clarke, welcome to No Rest for the Vivid podcast. I can't believe I'm still saying that. I'm still getting goosebumps. Are you sitting comfortably? Have you got a cuppa or something like that?
I am.
Good. I want to make sure that you're nice and comfy because we're going to we've been friends on Instagram for well over 2 years, and this is the first time that we've met. We've sent each other a million voice messages, haven't we?
Lots and lots. Yeah, I can't remember. It's definitely a couple of years now.
Oh, definitely.
Yeah, I think if people heard what we do send each other.
Lots of swearing. But yeah, no, it's been, I remember being friends with you because you must have found we started following each other, and you used to give me little tips when I first started out. You were really supportive with stuff like that.
I think you have to be. I think because, the small business world is massive, but I think it's so, you as a person, it's so lonely, or it can be so lonely. Yeah. Because the people around you don't understand just how hard it can actually be. Yeah. And I think you sort of then cling on to people in the virtual world because you're doing what I'm doing, and you'll understand, the majority of things that I'm saying. As well as when I talk to Hayley, because, even though she helps with the business, she doesn't actually do the social media side. She's, I talk to her and she's like, I don't know who you're talking about, or I don't know what you're going on about, or why is that so bad? And I'm like, I could shake it. I'm like, Hayley, you don't understand. Like, I need people to talk to. So I think it's really important that we all speak to each other, just for that support, so that you don't feel as lonely.
Oh, definitely. Now, Hayley's your other half. She is featured. Before we even talk about all of that, obviously, I hear about Hayley all the time. But who are you with and your business? Because we've just gone straight into how we're friends. But
we have. So I'm Naomi, and I own Little Peanut Online. I predominantly make handmade homeware from Jesmonite and concrete. I started off in my kitchen, literally, on our kitchen island, and it was a shithole constantly. It drove me mad. We only have 2 bedrooms here, so we've got a little girl as well. So we only have 2 bedrooms, so there was no spare room to put anything in. It's all open plan, and it was an absolute nightmare. So the end goal was to get a premises that I could work from. But, if you've searched yourself, they are a lot of longer. So I stayed here for as much as I possibly could, as long as I could. And then recently moved into a unit in November, which is wonderful because now that opened up so much space for me.
And how did you get into it? What I really want to know is the difference, and I'm totally novice to this, the difference between Jesmonite and concrete.
Okay, so concrete is like a raw compound, as whereas Jesmonite, it's quite new to the market. So it's a water-based acrylic resin. So you see all these resin artists. And this one is water-based, and it's really good because it generates the reason it's eco-friendly is because almost no waste. So all them chips that you'll see me put into things will be really of what I've just come out of containers from making, and then I literally just whack them in a big bucket, and then I make something with it so that I don't waste it, really.
Yeah. And last week was a table.
Yeah. Oh, you know when you could kiss yourself? Yeah. Because nothing ever goes right on a trial run.
No.
Ever.
No, I'm the same.
And then it gets me really down. I feel like I have this expectation of what it's going to be like in my head.
Yeah.
And then when I'm going through the motions and I'm doing it, I get this voice saying, it's going to be shit. It's going to be shit. It's going to be shit. You know that TikTok, like, oh, don't let it be shit. Don't let it be shit. That's the other side of me. Like, so, and then when it comes out and I'm like, oh, Hayley, it's not good enough. And she's like, no, that's great. And you know, when you just know yourself, and I'm like, it's not. And then the table, I was like, I'm going to film this. It's like I just knew from the beginning it was going to be good. And the purpose of moving to the unit was so that I could get into bigger things. And I hadn't ventured into that because it was lockdown and orders were just coming through because people were at home and stuff.
Yeah.
I had the time to put into making furniture. So when we did that, I was like, I'm going to film it. And although it took like a solid 2 days of graft, the end result,
and it is stunning. Like when I started watching it, I was just thinking, what's going on here then? Because I really like it when it's so weird when you do the reels and you've got the chips and you're like pouring the jug, and it just is quite mesmerizing. And I'm like, what's she mixing it into? And I didn't realise while I was watching it was going to be a table until the legs were on it. I was like, oh my God, she's made furniture. She's got, and I've got some of your, remember those little candle pot things? I've got some of those because in the very beginning we did some product swaps, didn't we? And we've got little cactuses in them. I was like, she's gone from that. She's making bloody furniture. That's amazing. It's just stunning. Absolutely stunning.
That's where the end goal was to be, really, because we started in the kitchen. It was I could only do so much. So I always knew that I wanted to go into bigger things, but it was just having the space, and now it's just having the time to try and sort of execute it. But I feel like I peaked too early with that reel because now I'm like, shit. But anything that I make now isn't going to be as good as that table.
So how did you get into all of this? Like, where did the idea to make from these materials come from? So
at the time I was working for a telecoms company and I didn't hate my job. It was actually a friend's business. I just didn't like it that much. It wasn't where I wanted to be. And I'd got to the point of, I had this loyalty to her that really I didn't want to go and look elsewhere because she'd been so good to me. And then it was our birthday, so me and Hayley are both Virgos, and our friends actually gave us a joint present, and it was made out of concrete. And I was like, this is so cool. It's from another small business. I was like, this is so cool. And I was like thinking, what else can I have in the house? And then I thought, oh my God, I'd really like to start trying to make my own stuff. And in the beginning, it actually wasn't even really to set up as a business. It was more just, I wanted to see if I could do it and possibly gift things coming to Christmas. And then I started playing around with it. And obviously there was loads and loads of materials that I tried. Lots they didn't work out. And then I found like the one that was the best to work with. And then I just started buying more molds, and that became like an addiction then. And then I wanted to be different and try and buy different molds that other people were purchasing. And yeah, that's pretty much how it was born, really, is that came from a friend had bought us something and I liked that much that I wanted to see if I could make them for gifts. And then I made them and I thought, you know what, I could actually sell these. And the more that I did it, that's where my passion was. Yeah. And then I thought I'll stay with my full-time job because it would be absolutely stupid to leave it, because orders were like, at the beginning I didn't have a website, I didn't even have an Etsy. It was like they DM me for like prices, because, well, even now I'm winging it, but at the beginning you really wing it, don't you? You have no
idea.
None. And that's okay. Like, the whole point is the trial and error bit, isn't it? That's gets you to where I am now, or to where you are now. People were DMing me and it was all very awkward. You know, I'd have to then chase people for purchases, as well as running a full-time job, as well as having a baby with colic, you know, as well as keeping a relationship going, a house, all these things. I was like, I need to get on Etsy, or I need to get a website. So I went on Etsy, didn't really like the fees that they were charging, spoke to a web developer, they set up a website for me, and it just sort of progressed then from there. And then that's when it sort of became more of a business, or felt more like a business, because people were then going onto it, ordering, you know, I'd hear them like cha-ching, but it was like that accomplishment. And then when they tag you in things and you see the things that you've made in someone else's home, it was almost this disbelief of, I can't believe people are purchasing these things from me and putting them in their home, liking them that much that they're messaging me saying, oh my God, this is amazing, or sending me pictures. And I'd be like, like, this is so cool. And that accomplishment and achievement, that you've done that from the beginning to the end, that's when I knew that this is what I wanted to do. It was just then a case of riding it out to the point where I thought, I can now leave my job and work full time. And obviously that didn't come until well down the line.
So in regards to timeline, when did you start? Was it like 2018, or was it a bit before? When was it?
So it was the end of 2018, but really I would probably say the beginning properly is when I had the website of 2019 is really when it started to.
Do you know, I remember when you launched a website. I'm just trying to think, because I started at the very end of 2018 as well, but then you went full time before I did, and I remember messaging you saying, I've got to go full time, like my job's falling through, I've literally shit my pants. And you were like, yep, you're gonna shit your, I can probably find the messages, you're gonna literally shit your pants every day, it's absolutely fine, totally normal. I was like, what have I done?
Yeah, that feeling is petrifying.
It's scary. I was just thinking about, like, obviously I've been full-time a year now, but I was saying to my husband, like, the end of this month I've done a whole year of just income from Vivid, and it's actually scarier now, I think, than actually going, I'm going to go full-time. Because when you first go full-time, the potential and the dreams in your brain is like amazing. And you went full-time in just before Christmas, didn't you? Was it like August, September?
The kick up the arse for me was I got made redundant. I could, to be fair, I could have stayed on, but it would have been a different position and not one that I would have liked. And my position basically was being made redundant. So I was just like, do you know what? No, I'll just take redundancy. And then I think, you know, when months just like gel into years, I can't even remember now. I feel like it was like February or March, I got told. And then by August or September, I was made.
Was that redundant. 2 years ago or last year?
No. So
was it before COVID?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, definitely was before COVID. So yes, that would have been 2 years then, wouldn't it?
Because
for 2 years,
that's amazing. The reason I'm saying it is because we've recently had conversations about the summer sales, and obviously last year was so different. But when you go full time just before Christmas, you think, oh, why haven't I done this before? This is amazing. But you don't realise that you literally earn most of your money in those 3 months for the whole year. I wish I had known that. So for anybody going full time just before Christmas, please keep some of your money from the sales back, because you'll feel so much less scared coming into this time of the year.
It is. And do you know what? I mean, I don't know what it's like for you. I know small businesses right now are definitely penny pinching, because we in lockdown absolutely thrived. I couldn't keep up. I was closing the website all the time because obviously I know that's so annoying, but when it's just you, there's so many things going on in your head, admin, new ideas, making what the orders that you've got, marketing it. The list is endless, replying to emails, replying to DMs, because engagement is a huge factor on how your business will succeed on social media.
Oh yeah, definitely.
You can't just let them DMs just sit there and rack up. You have to make sure that you're responsive, and not only that, but make people feel valued, definitely, because they're putting their trust in you, that their money, they're buying something from you. That's their hard-earned money. And I just feel like the least you can do is just, well, the least I can do is just reply, whilst it's not absolutely crazy. So yeah, we thrived in lockdown, and I couldn't keep up. And I was like, hey, this is amazing. It might be to the point where I'm going to have to employ somebody. That was my thought. We'd got the unit in lockdown. I thought, this is great. I might be able to now get some help, and can go onto other platforms. Because the reason that you stop yourself is because you just think you're one person, and you're literally at the max of what you can cope with already. But then you do have this voice that says, if you had somebody working with you, imagine what you could do then. Imagine the potential of your business, the growth, you'd be unstoppable.
Yeah.
And then lockdown, he started easing, and so did the orders. And I was like, oh my gosh, thank God I didn't employ somebody, because right now I would be letting go of them. And this is the thing, isn't it, is that you can look at somebody's account and think they have X amount of followers, like a good following. Well, I don't even know what a good following is classed as nowadays, but let's say over 10,000 followers, just for the sake of this conversation, where you can then, businesses want to get the swipe up, don't they? That is the main thing. You want to be able to swipe up on your business, so that if the consumer, so your customers, the least amount of effort they have to do, the better. So a swipe up is massive. And everyone's always like, why, or I see it sometimes like, why is the figure, why does it bother you so much? And when you're, on your thousands or whatever, you're in hundreds, it seems so far away. And then you get it, and then you're almost classed as a bigger account then. And I think people think then, because you have this amount of people, that you're literally, orders are just ching, 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 ching coming in. And the expectation that that's going to happen. And for some people it does, and that's great. But for a lot of us, that isn't the case. And I've definitely found that, like you said, Christmas is nuts.
Absolutely, yeah.
Like, save all your energy for that time. Because you are going to die. Don't expect sleep. Don't expect to function like you're a robot. I drive the kids to nursery, and I'm like, shit, how the hell have I got here? Because you're just on autopilot.
Yeah, and I was just going to say the same. Like, I cannot remember last December. I can't remember it. Like, I couldn't tell you what I did. I just was making constantly. My hands, the day after I finished and I got them all out, my hands were enormous. Like, they were so swollen, I couldn't do anything with them. But I've learned so many lessons. Like, this year I'm already preparing, and I know what stock I can make it ahead of time. But also, I'm going to make sure that the account, because the thing is even though this is a quiet time of the year, that's the same for all retail. And actually, if you're a small business and you're making stuff by hand, part of your business is retail in a way, because people are shopping for stuff. So next year, I'm going to make sure that I really enjoy this time of the year. I'm going to sort of I'm thinking ahead already to next year, to be like, well, I could really have most of my August off, and which I probably won't.
Yeah, you won't.
The idea's there, I'm the thought that counts. But just to think, I've just learned so much. But it's so scary. And I was saying to my husband the other day, I'm having that day. There's a couple of days every single month where you're like, what have I done? This is so scary. And then all I have to do, and I don't know about you, but I just have to design something new. I just have to do a new product. And that's probably the same what you've done with the table. I know I've got these 3 designs I'm itching to make, and it's like my treat for the end of today. Like, I'm saving it, and I know that is going to make me feel so great that it's going to make me go for probably another week or two. And that's why and this is going back to why you do it. You find something there's nothing, and I bet with you it's like when it comes out of the mold and there's no bubbles or something like that, you're like, smashed it, I want to kiss myself.
Yeah, you got there's so many highs and lows, like too many to even be able to discuss, but massively, like, I think you get this self-doubt or this imposter syndrome that people talk about.
Comparison, yeah.
You compare is a huge one, definitely. I think it's hard. You're an ant in this big world, the big world being social media. And although you would never not want anybody else to succeed, I have to be careful the way I word this because I don't want to come across as I'm not happy that somebody else is doing so well, because I am always happy that somebody else has achieved what they want. But I feel like you look at even sometimes not even similar accounts, just accounts in general, and you think, how have they got 100,000 followers and they've been going for a year? And then you think, you've been trading for 3 years and they're still working their full-time job. You now work just for yourself, and you're thinking, how are they doing it? What is almost so good about them that isn't as good about you? Like, what are you doing wrong? And what are they doing right? And I think sometimes you just have to really try hard. And I'm going to say this, but I'm still going to do it. I'm still going to compare myself, because unfortunately that is just the way my mind works. But you do have to sometimes really have a word and be like, Naomi, like, stop. Look at what you have achieved. Look at where you've come from to where you are now. So it's not the case of that's not where I want to be at the end of it. But look at, this is my journey and this is how much I've done. And separate sort of, even if you have to put it into blocks, that that you were working from home with a full-time job. You've then gone to being self-employed. That's a huge thing in itself, because money makes the world go around. We've all got bills to pay. We've got children to feed ourselves. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
The fact that we can do that is amazing in itself. And also that I think just because you may be similar in trades, you're not always going to have the same journey as somebody else.
No. And also the different customers. What I've realised is that the people that follow me may be completely different to who follow you. You've no idea. So you're sort of comparing the unknown.
Yeah. It's weird. Why do we do it? I don't know why we do it. I think it's a very common thing.
Yeah.
And then that puts you then in the mind frame of you're shit. It's, it doesn't matter what you've actually achieved. You then think you're absolutely shit, and you critique everything that you do, and you'll pull something out that will have an air bubble in it. And air bubbles in what I do is absolutely the norm. If I can get something without air bubbles, then I can't even believe it. But then I'm like, then I critique everything that I do, down to the pigments and colours, down to the way it comes out, down to the shape. And this is probably most likely because I've seen something where I've seen someone else's success and I'm doubting myself. For a long time, I didn't really even want to tell people what I was really doing. I'm not stupid. It was like I was proud of myself, but I was embarrassed to tell other people about what I was doing. And sometimes I still even get that now. Like, people are like, well, what's Little Peanut online? Because it's not obviously self-explanatory. And then I'd gone through this thing of, oh my God, my name is shit. But at the time it was named after Lily, and I never want to change that. But it's nothing in relation to what I actually do. And all these things go through your head, and they can really like get you down to the point where you think, is there something that I really want to do? Or then you get an email from somebody whose orders broke, and they're the days that then you think, oh, this is shit, and I don't want to do this anymore. Or you've not done your accounts for 3 months, and you see them receipts sat there, or the transactions on QuickBooks, and there's like 200 of them, and you're thinking, oh my God, when am I going to have the time to do all of this stuff? But yeah, I think it's so hard. And then, like you said, you make something new to bring yourself back up. Definitely.
Yeah. When I feel like that, when I'm really and I think it's if you own a small business and you don't have days where you doubt yourself, you are, I think, absolute hero. You need to bottle what you got,
sell it.
Sell it. I'll pay you quite a lot of money for it. But then I think back to my old life, as a teacher, and I had those same days. I still had those days where I'd be like, oh, I'm such a shit teacher. Like, the behaviour today in the classroom has been utterly shit. Oh God, why have I done this to myself? And even in my career before that, when I was supporting homeless families, exactly the same. I would have a bad visit or something wouldn't go right with the council, and I'd be like, oh, why do I do it? And then I think back during, school, you'd have bad days, and it's just actually life. It's like, even if I was at home with Jackson and I went out, I love being a mum. I absolutely adore it. But some days I look at him and think, look at what I created. And then other days I'm like, oh my God, what have I created? And it's exactly the same situation. And it's like, and actually, if I measure it, it feels, those days where I feel shit, if I measured it, it's such a small percentage of all the joy and all the amazing things that I experience through Vivid. And I can't, like, even doing this podcast, I know when you came on, it's like, what the hell, doing a podcast? And again, I keep getting goosebumps, but it's like, this is such an amazing thing. And I'm obviously worried, what if no one listens? Because that's exactly normal thing. But there's something inside us that you go, you're a creator, you're a designer, you're a maker, you're everything, that gets you up in the morning. You're like, no, I'm going to try again. It's going to be all right. Like, and those comparison thoughts, the thing is as well, that always thinks, if everyone's thinking like that, then someone's looking at you and saying, oh my God, she's just made a freaking table. Look at that table. I couldn't make a table, and then it's exactly the same.
So,
and that's why you have to be in these situations where you celebrate everybody.
Definitely. We are our own nightmare sometimes. Our thoughts consume us, and we just, for that second or that day or a week, whatever, I think sometimes you do need to be in it in order to appreciate the empowerment of when you do feel so good about something, because the climax from where you were to where you're feeling now is amazing. We can't always be on a complete high, but it's perfect. If you've got a small business, it is perfectly normal to compare yourself to other businesses and have that feeling of that you aren't good enough. And what you need to do is utilize that feeling of, if you're not happy in what you're making right now because you don't feel like it's good enough, then use that energy to make something that you do feel is good enough, because you want to kiss yourself. And that's literally where I'm at now. But then you get the worry of, what do I do now?
Make it all different colours.
It doesn't stop, but you need to use that energy for something better, like make whatever it is. Or if you've got that focus of you want to make something, you can do, and for example, let's talk about the table. Anybody can do that. Anybody can literally make that. No, they can. They can't.
Because they need the motivation and inspiration to get the mold, to know how to mix it, to know the quantities, to stand it, to have the patience.
You do have to go through your own trial and error. This is a good point, actually, that I keep seeing. I don't know if you go on TikTok, but like, it's a hole that you can end up in for like hours. Like, if you want to get something done in the day, don't go on TikTok, because you have zero production. But I keep seeing a lot of small businesses sharing where they get everything from, down to their packaging, down to their materials. And then I see other small businesses saying, hold on, I am not sharing any of that information with you. And then in the comments, there'll be lots of people that say, well, you shouldn't really be keeping that information to yourself. And I was sat there and I was talking to Haley about it, and I was like, there are things that in this business that I wouldn't want to share with people, purely because of the thousands of pounds that you have put into your own trial and errors. it's all well and good being helpful to each other. Definitely, like I will talk to anybody about anything business-wise, wholesale-wise, or anything that I may have done in the business that I think may help somebody else. But you just can't have this expectation that we will just give you all of what we do, because the whole point where you end up succeeding is through all of them failures. Definitely, if I tell you where I get all my materials from, or how I do absolutely every single step, you learn zero about it. You have to go through your own trial and errors of even just down to who you buy packaging from, or all them things. It's I think it's really important. So when I say you can make a table, in the end you can make a table, definitely. You could have your end goal that you could make that, but you have to go through that process yourself. And it will cost you
thousands,
a hell of a lot of money. You have to be willing to put the money and time is a huge thing.
I think that's the biggest thing. And somebody was saying to me the other day about it, and they said, Vivid, this and that, but you've got to remember that for 18 months or whatever it was, I had a newborn, but I was getting up at 4 a.m, working till he woke up, doing a day job, coming home, marking books, planning lessons, then doing some more work, and then going to bed. I didn't really sleep. And that's what you can't buy. It's that the drive to say, I love doing this so much, I will wake up at 4 a.m to do it before my normal job to see where it's going to take me. And this is the thing, obviously, I'm doing workshops. I've got something coming out this week. I'm going to do subscription workshops.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, I'm really excited about it. Like, I've got a whole year of designs already in my head, ready to go to teach people. But they really enjoy it. I'm going to share the joy of making wire art, but the actual business side of it, it's so I couldn't ever sit and say this is exactly what it is, because no one's me, no one's you. And it does really, I think sometimes I get comparison about maybe other small businesses. If I've seen somebody's copied one of my designs, I'm in that mode now where they know they've copied me, I know they've copied them. So you just there's some things I obviously own the copyright for, and my friend's a solicitor, and she said, you can stop them from making it. And I was like, but that's such negative energy. I'd rather, I think, use the energy of going, you're a bit of a shit because you've just copied me, to make something even better. And like you were saying, when you were saying about those comparison days, I don't know about you, but I've got like a toolkit of how to change that worrier energy into warrior energy. Even though the way I say that, it sounds like exactly the same word.
It does. I get you.
Warrior to warrior. I was trying to say
it's
it
like
warrior to warrior. There you go. Turning that energy. So I've got like a toolkit. So if I'm in that warrior, why can I not say that word? When I'm worrying, I like do loads of writing. So I will just brain dump, literally just splurge on a piece of paper exactly how I'm feeling. I've got some songs that I'll listen to, or I might look at pictures of Jackson when he was really small, just to make me feel, or I'll literally get a cuddle of him if he's in the house. And then I will just go and remember, like, why do I do it? I do Vivid, and because I love making, so I will just get some wire and not put any expectations of myself. But I don't know, but some days on those days, actually my hands don't want to work because they're like, no. So I'll do drawings instead, maybe, or just write lists of new ideas to just try and get out of that mode, and then sleep on it. And normally the next day I feel so much better. But it is just to recognise it's totally normal, isn't it, to feel like that. And I know I said at the beginning, I don't know if we were recording them, but how I've made you a couple of things, and I know they're all crap. Like they're not as good as compared to what they are now.
The imposter syndrome, because they're not shit.
But I'm in my little like nook in my bedroom, and I can see the piece I've made from our bedroom, and I look at it every day thinking, oh, I'm all right at that. I'm good at that stuff. But I think you have to, and people will go, I think I'm still with that generation at school thinking, oh, she loves herself, doesn't she? Like, with a comment like that. But if I don't love my own work and going, yeah, I've done a really good job, who the hell's going to do it if I'm not starting with that love of my work?
Of course,
that's really important to remember as well, isn't it?
Yeah, you can big yourself up. You can be your biggest cheerleader. You have to. The thing is if you do not believe in what you're selling, chances are you'll have a hard time selling it.
Yeah.
Because you've got to have, and that's what I was talking about before, is that the money and time that goes into a product is the reason it is valued higher. We're not machines creating multiple items, big batches all at once. We are literally, you're sat at your desk, literally forming the wire. I'm sat with powder, mixing it and whatnot, and with just one person doing everything. And when you purchase a product, you're literally purchasing in the trial and error at the stages before you got there to you making it now, the time going into it, the materials. And that's why, but you won't get that anywhere else. It's invaluable as a product. But yeah, there was something else that I was going to say about.
But you just put love. I pour love into every single one. I was saying this in another episode. I was like, literally, I worry about every single order. Every single, even if I've got loads that go out in a week, I will still think about every single one, because I take pictures of them all. I'll look back and think, I haven't heard from that customer. I hope it got there all right, because you care. It's like you are creating, and you want to make sure that thing that you created has a long life with your customer, don't you?
Don't always have the expectation that just because you think something is amazing, the receiver doesn't think it's amazing. Because I think that's another thing that really knocks me was, obviously yours will be different, but what I do, like we said before, has a lot of air bubbles, or it can have a lot of. Now there are things, don't get me wrong, that I will not send out. Some have big chunks missing out of them. I would never do that. But what I have has air bubbles in it. Now, when I take the first initial picture of a product, it may have less than what that person is going to receive. And thankfully, I can say hand on heart, in the 3 years that I've been trading, I've had less than 10 people, which is huge compared to the amount of orders that have gone out, about the quality of something. Now, whether people aren't telling me about it, I don't know, but then people that have told me about it, it's usually been about air bubbles. And you have to really try not to take that and go on the defensive. But still believe in the product as well at the same time. It's okay for you to confirm what I do does have air bubbles. There is the expectation there that I can't create perfect. I definitely can't. And I'm always very honest about that in descriptions. Cover yourself in descriptions, speak about it actively. I now have a leaflet that goes out saying, that the expectation of what they're going to receive. Because there are people that even you could make the most perfect item to you, someone receives it and it's not good enough. And that will happen. And you will be a little bit like, hold on a minute, this is what I do. I've literally made that. I've quality checked it. I've sent it out. So I know it's not shit to me, but you are saying it's shit. Do you know what I mean? Thankfully, them situations don't really happen. They're very far and few between, but it has happened, and that has knocked me back. And I've then been very overly conscious about the next makes that I do. Really, really trying to perfect them, and getting very annoyed that I literally can't do that. That's definitely a hard one in business for me. I think that's probably one of the hardest, when someone receives something and they aren't, don't get me wrong, if it's broke, we've had many of them, like, God, couriers, I don't know what they do with them, chuck them over their back, juggle them, I don't know what they do. But we have a few sometimes that do get broken. But quality wise, that is probably the hardest part of this for me, is when someone gets something that you like and you can't find fault with, and they get it and they don't like it.
But the fact that you've just said that that's happened less than 10 times in 3 years, that needs to be in your toolkit on your down days. Because I was talking to my best mate, she was like, but Vid, everyone calls me Vid, so Claire, what how many complaints have you actually had about your work? And I was like, well, I've had one about the shape of an R, and I've had 2 because the postman squashed them. No, 3 because of the postman. She was like, in all that time, and you're worrying that you do shit stuff. Shut up. I was like, oh yeah, that's a good point. How many things have you made? Oh, 1,000. Right. Shut up. I'm not even I don't even want to talk to you about it anymore. Which is when you think about it, when you do it like that.
Yeah. When you break it down, but when you're when you're in that moment, that could ruin my day. That a message like that. So yeah, always be kind about the way you speak to a maker and realize that they have actually, spent time making that.
It's your little baby that you've just sent across. Like when I made those roses, I was so like the big 3D roses. When I first started packaging them, it was literally like I was sending a baby into space, or a puppy, or something that was really fragile. And every single one, I didn't sleep. So I was like, please, mate, get there. And then I was getting pictures of people with it all in place. I was like, oh, God, I can breathe again now. But it really felt it's so strange. Like, I can't stop thinking about this little rose travelling across the country.
Yeah, that is the thing is that's when you've really got a love for what you do, though, isn't it? Because you want them to receive it. Not only that, but if they do a bloody unboxing on Instagram, you're fucked. Do you know what I mean? I always panic when I see people do that initial video where they're like opening it up and then they like tagging little peanut, and I'm thinking, don't be smashed, don't be smashed. Do you know what I mean? But now the thing is we try and reuse quite a lot of bubble wrap, because when we order, we just get like absolutely shed loads of it. So we always try and reuse what we possibly can. But now, like you, I think of it as in, if I'm literally about to chuck Lily off a cliff and I want her to get to the end okay, like wrap her, then wrap her again and wrap her again, box her, double box her, put peanuts in. That's the method that we've got now. And I bet people must get like a little small order and think, what the fuck is this? Why the hell is this, I don't know, 10 centimetre vase come in a box that's like 50 centimetres with all this packaging? And that's why now also I put a leaflet in there to say that we reuse as much as we possibly can. And the reason that we use bubble wrap is because, unfortunately, it's just been the best thing to make sure that it gets to you, because when it leaves us, well, like you know, the stress that you get, especially, do you get it if you're sending like multiple parcels out? Like if we're sending, I don't know, anything more than 10 parcels, I'm on edge thinking, is Sandra at the post office like making sure they all go through okay? Like, well, we've had people go missing.
I've had now I'm on Business Royal Mail. Thank the Lord to Royal Mail. Just an absolute shout out to all the post women and men and people that come to my door. Honestly, I cannot fault the service from Royal Mail. It is absolutely exceptional. And now I'm doing Royal Mail Tracked. They email the customer to tell them a time period of when it's going to arrive. It's just so much more reassuring.
Yeah, we need to get to that point, because when we send out, a few parcels at a time, well, Hayley does the parcels, thank God, because literally the anxiety of going into a post office with 2 bags of them, like Royal Mail bags of parcels, and sometimes, not all of them, the majority are absolutely great, but sometimes you do get a look like, and I would probably be the same, looking down at their watch thinking, it's 3:30, are you fucking joking? I am not doing that. And they'll just tell us now, frankly, like, there's no way we're going to get through them today. And I say to him, but we fulfilled them now. Do you know what I mean? Then that adds a day, and then you'll get, possibly a message like, and I'll be thinking, oh, it's because she didn't do them.
You probably, I can tell you more about it, but you probably do qualify. I was shocked that I do, but I do. And so I can talk you through it, because it's an absolute game changer. They come at that time every single day. If I haven't got anything that day, they just scan the thing. And the people that come are just so, I've never seen in my area a sad person that works for Royal Mail. They're always so happy, and sometimes that's the only stranger that I've not I'm not related to, that I've seen that day, And so sometimes I talk to them for a bit longer than I should. I'm like, oh, you come to my door. Hi again. Hi. Nice day, isn't it? Yeah, it's just a wonderful service. And for small business, it's really, so big up the Royal Mail.
Yeah. Well, thank God for them, really, because even just throughout the whole pandemic,
I know.
like we rarely ever get a parcel that goes missing. And to be honest, you expect it, like, even though it is annoying at the time, you know, your little parcel goes in with thousands of other parcels, doesn't it? And they can't always ensure. I don't know where they actually go. I always wonder, like, where the hell did that actually end up? But yeah, they did such a great job throughout the pandemic. Because it all just became online. Everything was just then online, and retailers that had shops were trying to then sell online. So there was more post. Do you know what I mean? And then around Christmas time, Christmas, big up Royal Mail. Like, we've got such here, not business related, but our postman is so lovely. Like, I could just kiss him. Like, he's just such a nice man, and he's always asks about Lil. Like, they're just really personal. They don't forget you. And I think, imagine how many houses they go to and how many conversations they have, and yet they remember us.
That's true. Our post is amazing. I must big up my local post office as well, because until I think it was March that I went on to business, they were godsends, and they really, really massively helped me with the business, especially when I went back to work. Because I first started when obviously I was on maternity leave with Jackson, and when I went back to work, I'd go down there at 6:30, and they've got a little shop that they open really early, and they were just amazing. But I just couldn't cope anymore with the lugging. And so but big up all of those services. We're so lucky in this country, honestly. We are. So lucky. Absolutely amazing. I love the fact that you have a love story with your business, don't you?
Definitely. That's your passion, isn't it? Because if you hadn't have had initially that appreciation of something, or the look of something, or the idea, or you've been inspired by somebody else, if you haven't had that thought of, oh, this is amazing, this is what I want to do, like, there's no job now. Even if this doesn't succeed, there is no, regardless of the amount of stress, and I do have to stress that there is stress, like, a lot, but regardless of all that, it is so worth it. Working for yourself and doing what you enjoy is the best feeling ever. Ever.
It is. I couldn't ever go back to work for someone else now.
No, me neither. And it's not that maybe other people who work for other people have found that in what we find in creating, but I never did. In any job that I was ever in, I always just did it for the money. That's what it was for. And with this, it's not for the money at all. Although obviously I need money because that's the way the world goes round. But it's not to. If you think I sit on a gold mine, I don't sit on a gold mine. No. You know what I mean? Like, and there are some months where I'm thinking, oh my God, this is a touch and go. And I'm waiting for the next good month. It's not like it's a case of, I get thousands and thousands of pounds and I don't have, that money doesn't go anywhere. It goes postage, materials, trying to pay myself so that we can pay our bills. It's not, but that's not what I'm in it for. I'm in it because it gives me freedom, with Lil. If I want to take a day off and do something with Lily, I can go and do it. If I want to make something new and feel empowered, like, oh my God, I did that, I can just do it. If I want to sit here with you on a podcast, I can just do it. Like, the freedom that it gives you in life is amazing, but also it does take away time as well.
So I'm going to say work. You do work about 70 hours a week. However, you can take some of those hours off if you want.
So basically, if you work morning and night, Monday to Friday, then you might be able to have Saturday off.
That's it. Getting a weekend, like, I'm just cherishing the fact that I'm having weekends off at the minute because I know it's going to stop soon. But then, it's still, you're right, it is just still the most amazing thing. And then when you see your art in somebody's home, and you're like, oh my God. Or the other day, somebody put me a piece of my art on their wedding gift list. I was like, what? I'm on on a list.
It's amazing, that feeling, and that continuously pushes you in the right direction.
Yeah.
So when we literally say to people like a share or tagging your products like means the world, it does, because it, really, also gets us out there to your followers. But if you're having a down day or a day of doubt, or even just a thought of, everybody has them, oh, I don't want to work today, I don't want to go to work today, and then someone can literally just do an unboxing video and you're like, yeah, there it is, I made that, and that is going on your mantelpiece. Like that feeling is like amazing, and that never ever leaves.
No, and it never gets, I think it just gets better and better. And I do think you're right, and it's recognizing you have the worrying energy, you feel like that's totally normal, but you're in it to just bring all of that joy. It's like the meaning of small business is to pour your love into art, to then put that love into somebody else's home, isn't it? It's like, it's amazing. Yeah. It's just such an amazing, absolutely amazing job. Oh, Naomi, this has been like, well, where can people find you before I say goodbye? Like, where are your bits and bobs?
So, mainly on, well, obviously Instagram social, so little_peanut_online. We are on Not on the High Street. We're on Etsy.
Well done for that little achievement. That's amazing.
Yeah, that was a good one. But yeah, mainly our website. So www.littlepeanutonline.co.uk.
You're an absolute ledge. You really are.
Pleasure.
Yeah.
Thanks for inviting me.
Oh, of course, absolutely. I'm just hope you love the episode when you listen back, which I'm sure you will. It's going to be amazing.
Yeah, this has been lovely. It's nice because our days usually are just with ourselves.
Yeah.
It's nice to actually break it down.
It's been amazing, babe. Honestly,
thank you.
Thank you so much.
All the best with it.
Amazing, babe. Thank you. I better actually get some work done.
Me too. I've got to drive to the unit now. Yeah, well, thanks for inviting me, and it's been a pleasure.
You're welcome. But look how much energy we've got now. We're going to make some fucking amazing fucking shitty things. Amazing.
Some fucking shitty things.
Shit up. Thank you, darling.
See ya. Bye.
Bye.
Thank you so much for listening to the No Rest for the Vivid podcast, written, produced and hosted by Claire Hill, and music has been composed by my brother Phil Vidler.